In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the bulk search functionality on DotDB to evaluate your domain portfolio. So bulk search is a paid feature. You go up and click bulk search, and then you can paste up to 10,000 keywords in here. Now it says keywords, but practically speaking, how I use it is I put domain names in. So let me put 5 domain names from my portfolio here. And you can also choose other things like what position it is in there, if you want to exclude like hyphens and digits, and you'll see why that's important. And in the site status, active, parked, inactive. So let's go ahead and click submit. And it processes very quickly. Obviously, this is just 5 domains, but even when I throw in, say, 250 domains, it takes no more than a minute to process. And what you get here are numbers for each of your domain names. So you can see this is the extension count, but I want to show you exactly what that means in exact match domains. So exact match domains means it's ennui dot top level domain. Extension count means that it could be ennuilive.com, that sort of thing. So let's just take a look at one of these to make it more clear. So ennui is a name, a term that means like extreme boredom. And I love the word. I remember learning it in, I think it was middle school or high school, and just loving the word. And so when it came up for sale a few years back, I picked it up. But you can see here that these are the extensions that the domain name is registered in, the 68. And if we go, let's go ahead and open this up. We can see here it shows not just the domains that are exact match, but also where that word, where ennui is in another part of the domain name. So what I do is I go ahead then as a command or control and click to open all of these up in new tabs. I'm going to go ahead and skip this process here in the video. Okay, now I've opened all of these in tabs at the top. And the first thing you're going to discover is even though it says there are 49 active domains here, that's misleading. It's always going to overcount. So see this first one here. This is actually kind of a new parking page I've been seeing a lot of lately, where they're just showing products, I think because of the changes to AdSense. So that's not developed. This one, you know, I think you can understand ennui is not the most commercially usable term, so the value is somewhat limited, but this is obviously a very old site, not an upgrade opportunity. And you'll see here some parking pages, some 404s, a domain for sale here. Obviously, this can be helpful to see other domains in the extension that are for sale, and there are other tools that will allow you to see that as well, that not on DotDB, but other sites. So it's kind of interesting. Don't know what that is, but obviously not a commercial opportunity here. Personal site. Well, this is a software company, so that's kind of interesting. And then as you go through, see, it looks pretty small here, just a couple different people. But, you know, this is a potential upgrader for the site. You could click through, find their LinkedIn, and find out more about them as well. Another parked page. Somebody forwards it to their LinkedIn profile. This could be interesting. It says soon, but let's learn more about that. Oh, there's a Telegram channel with only 19 subscribers. Sadness as a service, that's entertaining. But as you can see here, and as you might expect here, personal journal, there aren't a whole lot of commercial uses of it. Let's see, this one, this is a Korean country code domain. This one, they actually use it as part of their branding here. They're selling merch. Don't know too much about the company, but you can learn more about it and dig into these. Here's a podcast using ennui.tv. Could be interesting. It looks kind of brand new. So somewhat limited opportunities here, but you can scroll through, take a look, see if there are any companies that might be upgrades for it. And the idea here is, you know, sometimes you buy a domain and then other people start using that in different extensions. So that was ennui. Now let's go ahead and look at another one. Let's go to lounges.com. This is a domain I bought through the Thought Convergence auction a few years ago. My general thinking was it'd be great to like review airport lounges and premium hotel lounges. I know Amar Kuba, who was one of the founders of Thought Convergence, had this in mind for like hookah lounges and that sort of thing. So 46, it's registered in 46 extensions, 22 active. Let's just go ahead and open those up. Okay, I've opened all these up in tabs here. Again, some not found, parked, for sale, for sale. So here's one. They forward it to a different extension, different domain actually. Lounges Festas, not sure how to pronounce that in Portuguese, but .com.br. Probably not a huge potential buyer for the domain. Lounges Social Club. Again, you see there aren't as many developed extensions as it first appears. Not sure exactly what that is. So lounges.tv, this is obviously a developed business and company here. Live music, pay-per-view sports. Looks like some sort of entertainment company. So you scroll down, kind of get an idea of who they are. There's a long page. Interesting. They're backed by Simon Cowell. That's interesting. So it shows it's a big company. So usually I'll scroll down to the bottom, look at their About Us to learn more about them and see how big they are, etc. So this is obviously a pretty big company here, and they could benefit from upgrading to lounges.com. So that looks like about it for lounges. So let's look at another one here, UpMoney. UpMoney is a domain that I acquired for a financial blog, a personal finance blog, and I trademarked it and did a lot of stuff, and I've shut that down since then. So I would sell the name. I actually get quite a few inquiries for UpMoney, but let's take a look at how it's being used by other companies to get an idea for its potential value. One for sale. So let's take a look at this one, a comparison site, but let's take a look at how big or active they might be. So interesting, it's part of another company. That's good. PJG Financial Limited in Scotland. So clearly they spent some time developing this, but this gives me a little pause here. 2021 is the last update on the copyright date. So this doesn't appear to be a very active site. Another domain for sale. This is some sort of make money site, probably not too promising. Stock news site. Let's see, what's this? UpMoney, effortless banking, empowered finances. Oh, well, this is interesting. This company hasn't gone live yet, right? They've registered this domain, upmoney.tech, and they're looking to go live next year. So they could potentially benefit from owning upmoney.com. You can scroll down and learn a little bit more about them. You can look up their address. They're in Dubai. This is, you might be seeing a lot of these as you go through your .db. This is kind of that new GoDaddy Arrow type of auto placeholder site. You can see here this company registered it and created a site on several different top-level domains. UpMoney Easy Loans, they're in India. So some potential here. Always concerns me when you see something like this. Site best viewed through Internet Explorer 11x or higher. So somewhat limited there. But this is, again, a name I get. There are lots of signals. I get offers on this name. I know it's a good one, but you can kind of see how it's being used. Moral support. This is one I bought from Duran from FD. Probably not a whole lot of great opportunities here. You see there's a .nl, a store, and a co.za. This one's for sale, coming soon. All right, so an IT support company. Looks like it's kind of just one guy. So, boy, he's been doing it for a long time, though. 1998. his last update date here is 2023. So not a lot of whole opportunities right there, but let's, I just noticed here there's some other things like Moral Support Club, see Moral Support Coach, Moral Support LLC. These are all people that could potentially want to get that shorter domain name. So it's always good to look at these as well. And let's just look at one more, CrowdHack. So CC and an IO. IO, I do like to see those developed. That's a good upgrade opportunity for someone. Let's see here. CrowdHack.cc, operating system for social and environmental transformation. Looks like a fairly developed site here. Let's see if we can find out anything more about them. You can always go look for social media handles, that sort of thing, links to see how active they are. And then crowdhack.io. Let's see if we can find out anything about them. Explore hackathons. Okay, so they're featuring hackathons. You can see their partners. These people have a crypto play as well, it looks like. So sometimes the About Us is helpful at the bottom. You can look at the privacy policy to see maybe who owns it. In this case, we see Ownership Economy Limited. If it's a German company, so you'll especially see these on .de, look for Impressum at the bottom, and that usually shows their name, their address, their CEO, that sort of thing. So what I've been doing is I've been taking, a couple hundred domains at a time from GoDaddy, from my account, throwing them in here just to kind of get an idea on how the domains are being developed. Have they been developed by some companies since I last looked? Kind of get a sense for what the opportunities are here. I also do this when I'm looking at should I keep or let a domain name expire, and I will put them in here. Maybe they're registered in a few extensions, but when I look them up, it turns out that that domain was registered many years ago, still hasn't been put to use, or maybe it was previously used and they let it go to waste, or they aren't using it anymore. So it might not be that it's actually, even though it's registered in 3, 4, or 5 other extensions, there might not be much value there. Hope you found this helpful. Please let me know. Drop me a comment.